What are you doing? I'm prepping a session of D&D. Why aren't you taking this seriously? I am. It's Saturday though, and all my friends are available, so I thought maybe I would give. If you were serious, you would at least not be doing this. Listen, just because something like this is happening doesn't mean I can't enjoy my hobbies. In fact, I think now I need it more than ever. Hi, my name is Michael. Welcome to Regeneration, where we talk about the ways that we can reclaim ourselves in the midst of some major life changes. In my case, I'm using the lens of a job loss. In the original Star Trek Enterprise series in the 1960s, the Enterprise comes across a planet where all the crew members' dreams and fantasies can come true, sometimes to somewhat deadly effects, or seemingly deadly effects. I love reading, I love walking in the parks around my city, and I love TTRPG games, as you can see. When I hit that major milestone of being laid off and not having a job anymore, I began to feel guilty about wanting to play my games or enjoy my hobbies. See, I had been indoctrinated for so long with so many employers and with society at large that somehow time off was like a reward for working hard, and that you had to deserve this ability to explore these hobbies, these things that interest you, these things that bring you alive. But to be completely honest, hard work and overwork are not all they're cracked up to be. And in fact, they can be incredibly unhealthy, which you don't have to take my word for it. There's lots of experts who say this. Now, some people at your work, and just certainly like my work, may use this overwork as a cudgel to batter other people who are not performing at their level. I worked 70 hours this week. What did you do? I'll sleep when I'm dead. But that's not the brag that they want you to think it is. It's actually an unhealthy obsession. But what if you lost your job like I did, or you had some other major negative change in your life? Surely there's got to be a correlation between the job loss and your, say, efficiency of finding another job and the time you spent in a hobby. Well, that's not true. No. Pastimes and hobbies are part of a healthy balance of life that allows us, regardless of the major life changes that we're going through, to deal with the things around us and to deal with ourselves in a more balanced and, more importantly, healthy manner. There are a lot of different hobbies that you can engage in, but what is good for one person may not be great for another. So it doesn't matter if you are a gardener or a kite flyer or a runner, or maybe you love TTRPGs just like I do. You need those. They are an essential part of you. Here are my 4 reasons why you need to keep up with or take up new hobbies. First, personal connection. Hobbies are a way to connect ourselves and bring us joy, not just with ourselves, but also with a community. So whether it is gardening or drone flight or competitive sports or just making music, either with a group or by yourself, pastimes can allow us to connect with not just ourselves, but our younger selves and with people around us.
She's tactical grandma.
What is it that you love about video games?
I'm a competitive person. I grew up playing competitive soccer. So to me, when I play games like Call of Duty, I still get that competitive feel that I can't do physically anymore.
She's not alone. Nearly half of all baby boomers are getting in on the action, with mental stimulation as the top reason this generation says they've taken up the activity. Doctors say gaming for older Americans has benefits, allowing them to use the brain, stay engaged, and maintain cognition.
For me, in my case, playing Dungeons & Dragons or Powered by the Apocalypse or Pathfinder or 100 other different titles that I like to play, they are a way for me to connect with the joy that I found when I first discovered the hobby, as well as the similar joy of people around. There's also a place where we get to define our own goals, where we set the measure by which we are successful. It may be turning in an incredible bumper crop. It may be the ability to create a piece of music that is just absolutely moving. It may be being able to run further than you did before. All of these are goals that you set internally. It's a way to reinforce your agency within yourself. Which brings me to point number 2. A sense of control and familiarity. When our lives are upended by unexpected events or even expected events, it can leave us with a feeling of the rug having been pulled literally out from underneath us. And so that disruption of that routine did prove very unsettling. And diving into a hobby is a way to find space that allows us to feel the familiar and to kind of break up that sense of I should be doing something. It's kind of a guiding star or true north, if you will, as we navigate waters in unfamiliar territory. At least we have some touchstone upon which we can ground ourselves. There's a kind of calm in hobbies as well, whether it's pickleball or rucking or even competitive basketball at a pickup in the local sports center. Point number 3 is serenity and peace. Now you're thinking, Michael, how can there be serenity in something like Call of Duty or in rugby matches? I know, it seems crazy, but really there is something about hobbies that makes us healthier, mentally and physically healthier. The event itself may be stressful, like for instance in my hobby, rolling a natural 1. If you know, you know. It can be very stressful, especially if it's a make or break situation, but there is a kind of catharsis there. And think about it. We all need peace for better health, both mentally and physically. Whether the world around us is falling apart quite literally, or maybe it's just our own personal realm that is falling apart. We have had everything turned upside down on us, and we need to be able to find those islands of serenity. And hobbies afford that. Which, speaking of, let's go ahead and pivot to point number 4. And that is leisure is not a reward for hard work. Does hard work afford you the resources to be able to pursue the hobbies in the way that you want? They can, absolutely. And at the same time, somebody who is struggling financially may have a hard time finding time for hobbies. Even something as simple as reading for just a little bit of time can be almost impossible for somebody who is lacking in basic necessities. But that doesn't mean it's not necessary. And some of the hardest people I know work a lot of hours. They work 2 and 3 jobs, and they take public transportation, and they're gone most of their day. They are working their asses off. But do they get time off to read or to fly a kite or to spend time with their kids? No, they're not. So obviously, the system itself tells you that hard work is not a reward or is not the mechanism by which time off can be awarded. Now, I'm not saying that people who make a lot more money don't also work hard, but that opportunity is there for you. And I would suggest humbly that perhaps focusing more on the things that are around you, like your hobby, is important. I'm not sure if you've ever heard the phrase work hard, play hard. Those are typically red flags for job searches. Oh, we love to work hard and we love to play hard. Usually means we overwork people, and then we have mandatory things that we do together that is also kind of work, but not really, but it is. So I would be careful with this. There's nothing intrinsically indulgent or wasteful about any hobby as long as you're not hurting somebody by pursuing it. You may enjoy playing poker. That may be your hobby. But if it's becoming an obsession, if it's becoming an addiction and it is harming somebody, well, that's now no longer a hobby. That is something you should look into. Honestly, I kind of feel sorry for the people who have decided or been coerced into by propaganda to thinking that work is better somehow than time off. To me, it signals either A, you've decided to not care about the people around you, about your mental health, and about your mental well-being and your physical well-being, or B, it tells me that you're afraid that you can be replaced. And the truth is, regardless of how hard you work, trust me, I worked very hard at my previous job. No matter how hard you work, they will make a decision at some point that it's financially better for you to be let go. So why are you sacrificing yourself so much for a company that, if you were hit by a bus on Monday, would have your position filled by the time you're in the ground? Doesn't seem right to me, but that's the reality. In fact, if you look at the jobs numbers are going down, but the stock market keeps going up. In fact, CEOs are bragging about laying people off, about firing people and replacing them with AI. So if the company doesn't care about you, why do you care so much about the company? You may think, well, it's just the way I'm built. Or maybe it's you haven't found the right hobby, the right thing to be peaceful with yourself. Personally, I've always hated the axiom, don't watch the clock, do what it does. Just keep going. It turns out that axiom is turning people into machinery. Machinery breaks down. And what happens when that machinery breaks down? Well, it gets replaced, tossed out with the old and in with the new. And even if it doesn't break, even if it's consistent and it keeps on going, as it gets older, maybe it'll be replaced by something new because it's more efficient or it's cheaper. But you are more than that. You and I are parents maybe, or siblings, or children, or maybe we're mentors and we're friends. We are more than that. I was at a store one time playing a TTRPG, and someone quipped rather meanly, "You're awfully relaxed for a guy who's looking for a job," because I was enjoying myself playing a game. They meant it as a judgment. They meant it as a kind of put down that me enjoying this time off was taking away from me being a productive member of society. Luckily for me, across the table from me was a former firefighter who immediately spoke up and said, "I'm not working right now. Should I not be playing too? Do you think I should get up and leave as well?" The reality was everybody knew this former firefighter story. He'd been injured on the job and was on disability and so couldn't work. So was he supposed to suddenly not be able to do his hobby because he was not able to work? Certainly I wasn't disabled, but I wasn't able to work. Nobody was paying me, but nobody was paying him either. I mean, yeah, he had disability, but nobody was paying him to produce something or to protect someone. The person who made the quip very quickly got up and left the store. And this got me thinking, what if we stopped judging each other and thought, I'm enjoying this person being here. I'm enjoying my hobby. That's all that matters to me. The same is true for you. Whether you're unemployed, partially employed, disabled, retired, whatever, regardless of where you are in the spectrum of your work life cycle, hobby is important to you. A hobby gives you a sense of purpose, gives you a sense of being, gives you a sense of calm, gives you that wonderful flow state that I wish everybody could experience at least a few hours in every week. But that's just my perspective. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, in the meantime, don't stop regenerating.